Hi everyone, it's Sasha and Suzy from Women's Fight News, and we're
Okay.
back for it's big. This is a big one, isn't it, Suzy?
Yeah, we had to. I mean, our lives have been so busy, so we apologise there hasn't been other lives, but it's just been so hectic. But we literally had to stop everything to do a live tonight.
And you know what? There's so much to talk about, but I just mean this one fight because actually there's been so much going on in boxing. Of course, there's been other fights, but there's just so much to talk about this fight that I don't know. It kind of blows my mind. I don't know if we've ever had just one fight where we've got like 20 talking points on
Yeah,
just the one fight. Like it is incredible.
and the interaction that you've had on Twitter by just doing a few tweets, and it's just blown up, and you've been called
Yeah.
all.
It's been a roller coaster. It's been a journey, Suzy, the last 24 hours. Because I done that tweet, like my initial reaction, which I stand by still. And a lot of people agree, which is good. And some
Yeah,
people don't agree, and that is absolutely fine. And then you always get the classics, don't you? Like, you don't know what you're on about. And you look at the profile and they've got like 3 followers, like probably never watched boxing in their life. And I'm the issue. But it's all good fun. But it just shows though the magnitude of what that fight was as
yeah,
well. And
definitely.
there are actually a lot of people who've never watched boxing commenting absolute shit, but that's fine because they've tuned in and watched it and they don't normally. I think it's positive.
Yeah, no, true. We've had a bit of a laugh, haven't we, about some of the clueless comments.
Oh, well, you had one before, didn't you, where, you sent them that very informative post that you made about Chantelle Cameron's career, which we'll move on to in a little bit. And did he just reply like, "You are wrong"? Right?
Yeah, because he had no other argument. So it's like, you're wrong. Right, okay, fine. Let's move on.
Well, you are wrong. No, not you can even say to that, is it? You're just like, okay, thank you. That's fine.
I didn't reply to that one.
But yeah, we've just got so much to talk about and kind of there are a lot of different opinions. Now I'm gonna ask you my first question. Would Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor, that rematch that we saw last night, would that have sold in the UK?
I think, yes, it would have done. Because at the end of the day, it's still those two fighting. Katie Taylor has an army of fans who would come across from Ireland to watch her. Obviously, Chantelle, if it was in sort of her neck of the woods, she'd have her core following. So I think it would sell out a similar size venue.
Mhm.
However, you can't deny that in Dublin, it had that extra wow factor because they do absolutely idolise Katie. And it's that kind of real Irish party atmosphere, which you can't
Mhm.
replicate anywhere else.
Yeah.
Um, so I do believe it would have done, but I don't think it probably would have been such a special night in some ways.
Mhm.
However, I do have my issues around. I do think that's unfair. Her, Chantal being the B side again,
Yeah.
really in Dublin. I do feel like it would have been fairer to have it in England.
Yeah.
Definitely, that is my thoughts. However, from a fan point of view, I did like it being in Dublin. I did like that atmosphere, the ring walks, everything was just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, for me though, she had her homecoming, the first fight, and I thought that was in a way good of Chantal. Um, you know, I get it, I get the logic behind it. Katie Taylor sells. There were people that were saying, Chantal Cameron can't sell in the UK. This fight wouldn't have sold in the UK, it has to be in Dublin, but that isn't why it's in Dublin. The fight would still sell in the UK because Katie Taylor on her own would sell in the UK.
Yeah,
She sells
that,
in New York, she would sell in the UK, she has done before. She obviously sells in Dublin. I know what you're saying, it's a different atmosphere, it is a complete different spectacle, don't get me wrong, so I get the logic behind it. But the fight would sell. And I know some people refer to Chantelle Cameron against Mary McGee when that ended up headlining at the O2 in London, it didn't sell. It was such different circumstances. One, Chantelle Cameron has been so under-promoted, and I'm going to rant on about that later on because it absolutely infuriates me. So she isn't the biggest ticket seller. I do appreciate that, but that isn't just down to her. I think there's lots of parties involved with that being the reason. But Chantelle Cameron with a very good opponent sells, and obviously Katie Taylor is the best opponent you're going to get. So I think for me, I believe there was always going to be a trilogy, regardless of who won this fight.
yeah, I agree.
So For me, it would have made sense then. Chantelle's won. She's done what Eddie Hearn keeps asking her to do over the years of prove yourself, win this fight, prove yourself. Then you'll get this opportunity in this one. She went to Dublin, defended her belt, won. What a perfect time. Maybe not her homecoming, but say, let's go neutral. Then, because we're going to get that trilogy regardless. I mean, if Chantelle would have won, Katie, I think then would have looked, maybe not the next fight, but would have still had that trilogy with Katie, with Chantelle anyway. That's your Croke Park fight, or that's your Dublin fight anyway. So I just feel like they've missed a trick again, because again, I think Eddie could have looked at this as a good opportunity to market Chantelle more than what he has done. And that's not happened, because obviously it's all been about Katie Taylor again. So again, it's like a bit of a missed trick, I think, because Chantelle's still quite young compared. So she's got years left in the sport. And I feel like they keep missing tricks of kind of getting her next in line for Katie's throne a little bit.
Yeah. She's, again, overlooked, isn't she? It's always never the one that's been pushed forward. She's never the number one priority for anyone, unfortunately, which is what a shame, because she's like one of the best in the world. What more do you do? Yeah.
Someone's put biggest venue Katie sold in the UK is your call. Obviously, we're talking about years ago, though. I think we've got to stop, because I keep seeing comments on like stuff like this on Twitter, and I don't quite get it, because we're not looking at what she's done in the past. Obviously, in the past, she's been building her career for these moments. You know, Katie Taylor's also sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
she's sold out the 3 Arena twice. And can I just say, this time around, them tickets were very expensive at the 3 Arena. They were really expensive. So she's done a 7-figure gate at the 3 Arena this time around. They weren't your standard ticket prices, what you would normally see. So that shows that, you know, her obviously audience continues to grow. So I think, back in the day, she did only sell the York Hall site, which is still a very good venue to sell, especially in women's boxing, where we're still growing. Bearing in mind, she's kind of the era where she's been the pioneer. So when she first turned over, no one was interested in women's boxing. So, she's grew the sport. So it's probably only been the last few years that we've had the magnitude of selling out.
Exactly. And it's only recently that women have been headlining shows, because I think people have blinkered, like they forget easily that Chantelle Merigui was one of the first. So that's why it didn't perhaps sell as well, or there wasn't as many in the audience, because it was first. It's a pioneering event, like you say. So therefore, you cannot judge it based on that.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a good thing in a way that people are forgetting that it was not that long ago that you go to card after card after card. There wouldn't even be a female on it. If there would, they'd be on before the bell. Then they started to get prime time slots, and obviously it's only been really since COVID, since we started seeing Fight Camp and the fights behind closed doors, that we saw women headline.
Yeah.
So when people are going, oh, she wouldn't sell, how do you know, though? How do you know that? Because she's not had the opportunity. And when she has, like Katie Taylor's had the opportunity, not being funny, she saw that Madison Square Garden. That's pretty fucking impressive. I don't see any of these selling out Madison Square Garden. Do you know what I mean? So I think Katie Taylor could virtually go anywhere in the world and sell.
Yeah, I agree.
So when you're putting that with Chantelle Cameron, with the whole narrative of Chantelle's beat her the first time round, you can't tell me Chantelle Cameron couldn't sell out in the UK. I'm not accepting
They
that.
just want to give Katie a proper homecoming where she won, or at least give
Where she won, yeah. But that's why before this fight, for her original homecoming, I don't know if, I'm sure you said as well, like Chantelle Cameron was a strange opponent to pick when you want your fairy tale homecoming. Credit to Katie for doing it. But it was always going to be a case of, well, we're going to keep doing this until we get a win, because you do want that perfect homecoming. And I get it, because Katie deserved this homecoming years and years ago. I can't believe it's taken this long and she finally got it. But yeah, like you say, it needed to be that perfect moment, didn't it? She had to win. She couldn't lose again. Could not lose again. There was quite a few comments on Twitter that really baffled me of. Chantelle Cameron has been gifted the opportunity to fight Katie Taylor. I would love your opinion on that.
I think I replied to this person, actually, because she hasn't been gifted. She's earned her shot. I mean, who else out there deserved it more at this particular moment than Chantelle? There was no one. The fact that, like you said, she had to jump every hurdle put in front of her, and she's done it. I mean, to undisputed, then she had to fight McCaskill, who is another undisputed, just to become undisputed in her own weight division.
Yeah.
So in theory, she should have been 2 weights in undisputed because she'd made it in her own. She's beat the undisputed the weight above. Then she's more than enough earned that shot against Taylor. Then she won. So in theory, she should have been 3 weight undisputed if she'd have fought at Katie Taylor's belt for her belts. So the fact that everyone's making out as she's this sort of fighter that didn't deserve a shot and just came from nowhere is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the reason why, I think someone else said, well, she thanked herself for the opportunity. But yes, she probably did thank Katie Taylor, but because she was never going to get this opportunity without Katie Taylor saying, yeah, I want that fight, because her...
Katie Taylor also thanks Chantelle Cameron for the opportunity because they've got mutual respect. That doesn't mean like Chantelle, I think they've taken that very literal, haven't they?
Yeah, because the fact is that Chantelle's team, unfortunately, were never going to try and make her that fight because their priority was Katie Taylor. And the fact that Katie Taylor asked for that fight, I think that's why she was grateful. But she earned that shot. But she was just grateful she was going to get this fight that she'd wanted all these years that she never thought she was going to get.
Yeah, because this is what I mean. The people who were saying it, I was a bit curious of like, how long have you followed boxing? Because sure, they've made out a little bit like she's just being plucked from thin air, like they've spotted her in Tesco and being like, we'll have you. As if no one knows who Chantelle Cameron is, as if she isn't a world champion, as if she hadn't been undisputed, like you say, ticked all of these boxes in her career. Bearing in mind, she's had nothing but bad luck and being inactive at times, where I remember when I interviewed her before the Mary McGee fight, I think it was, where she was like, she was contemplating going to MMA because she just couldn't get a fight under the Matchroom banner, even though she was signed with them. And then she was in the undisputed tournament. Of course, Callie Reese fell ill. That just put an absolute halt to everything. And then eventually she got the Jessica fight. But again, it's always that like kind of Chantelle putting everything on the line. And she was very open and honest in that build-up of she's getting very pissed off with it. And she admitted that. And I think you could see a little bit of that and the frustration come out in the fight a bit. But, I don't understand where like she's not being gifted the opportunity. She's given Katie the opportunity to fight to become 2-weight undisputed.
Yeah.
Chantelle's given Katie that opportunity. Chantelle, because when Amanda Serrano pulled out of the homecoming, who else was there that was going to make that big homecoming?
Yeah.
So actually, it's 50-50 in my opinion that Katie Taylor needed Chantelle Cameron just as much as the other way around. And that's why, and Katie knew that. That's why Katie called her out on Instagram. She's never done that before.
No.
But she needed a big fight. And if you've not got Amanda Serrano, for me, Chantelle Cameron is the only other big superstar that can match Katie Taylor. There's no one else, I don't think, that comes to mind that where you would sell it as a 50-50 fight against Katie Taylor at the minute. There's no one. So for me, it's got to be 50-50. And people saying that she's been gifted the opportunity, I was a bit like, well, like you said, she'd been mandatory in the past for that belt.
Yeah, because she was mandatory back in like 2019, I think it was.
Yeah.
So after Katie Taylor beat Bassoon, she became the WBC champ. So therefore, she was then mandatory for Katie Taylor. And then she moved up about the November of that year. And somebody put, oh, well, that wasn't that long a time. But she knew Cameron in that time. It was never going to happen, that fight. And she was either going to wait around for years and years doing nothing, waiting for that fight.
Yeah.
Or she was going to go and make her own success elsewhere. And that's what she chose.
Yeah, she's had to take. Everyone knows that you are worth more as a world champion, so she can't just sit there waiting and waiting and waiting. She's obviously had to go up. She's moved up weights. She's done everything she's needed to be done. I don't know if she's constantly been dangled a carrot a bit, because you always heard in it leads up to a fight. Yeah, this is the next step for her. She gets through this. This is the next test. She gets through this. It's all you would ever hear from Eddie Hearn. She gets through this. Then we're going to look at the Katie Taylor fight, and then she'd have another fight. Yeah, but she needs to get through this first, and then she'd get through it. No, she needs to get through this one now. And it was like, it was going to be like never ending. And if it wasn't for Amanda Serrano pulling out of the homecoming against Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron still to this day would not have fought Katie Taylor. She was never, ever going to be given that opportunity, ever.
No.
And it's been great for Katie Taylor because she's had the opportunity, obviously, against Amanda Serrano. She would have had to put her belts on the line again. So it has been something, I'm sure it's been a dream of Katie to become a 2-weight undisputed champion, obviously matching Clarissa Shields. So that's thanks to Chantelle Cameron for doing that, because she could have said no. She didn't have to go to Dublin to defend them
Yeah.
titles. She didn't have to sign the rematch clause, but she just wanted the fight because she knew she could win, and she did first time round.
Yeah.
Madness,
It's mad.
absolute madness. So speaking of that, though, when you kind of break down Chantelle's career, has she been promoted with her best interests at heart and like at the foresight?
Never. I don't. It's a little bit harsh because in some ways, because they have promoted her, but she's never been their number one priority.
Yeah.
I feel like she's never been the one that they've always pushed the hardest for, because there's always been Katie's their golden girl. So no, I don't feel like she has. And if there's a reason why people haven't heard of her before the Katie Taylor fight, well, it's because there's obviously not been promoted well enough. And then some people might say, well, she should be pushing herself forward, doing this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, she's got a promotional team. She shouldn't have to change her personality to suit, become bigger that way and put herself out that way. She should be able to just be herself. I mean, we look at Katie Taylor. It's not like she puts herself out.
No.
Matchroom have promoted her and her personality, and people love her for that.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to go out there doing every interview. I don't think she even did money or any at all in this lead up. So why can't Chantelle do the same and be a big star under Matchroom? There's obviously a problem there with the promotion, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I think the fighters do have to take a little bit of responsibility. However, I do think Chantelle does a good job, like locally, especially because you'll always see her out. I think she's a big rugby fan, and you always see her out there, and she's got the shirt on. She goes out with a belt. I think she engages quite well with her local community, and that's who you get in, because they're the people who buy tickets from you. So I do think she does well of what she can do. Like you say, it's not everyone's like an extrovert. And you've got to be yourself. You've got to come across like authentic. So if she goes over the top, no one's going to buy into it anyway. But yeah, with Katie being the golden girl, it makes it trickier. Would Chantelle have been better potentially looking to have left Matchroom, or do you think she's stayed with Matchroom knowing that eventually I'm going to have to get this Katie fight at someday? I'm just going to hang on till I get it.
It's a tricky one. I personally think if she'd have left Matchroom a while ago,
Neither.
I think she would have got more opportunities earlier on. I think she gave Matchroom a very good shot. They were lucky to keep her.
When Boxer took a lot of Matchroom fighters, I thought that's when she was going to leave. But I don't know where she was up to in a contract or anything. But I thought she, like when Savannah left, Tasha left, I thought she was going to be one of them without a doubt. So I was quite surprised then.
Yeah. So I think she would have had opportunities if she, they would have come quicker. At the end of the day, Matchroom have given us some great opportunities now, but it's taken its time. So I think she's pleased with what she's got now. But I think these same opportunities potentially could have come earlier. And I think a matchup could have still happened with Katie Taylor.
Without a doubt, because like I said before, Katie did need Chantelle just as much as well. So if Chantelle was elsewhere, Katie can still have that fight. And this way, I think people you go, well, she needs to be with Matchroom for that fight. But we're seeing it more and more. Obviously, you've got that big heavyweight clash happening in Saudi as well, where you're seeing cross promotions happening. Yeah. It does happen. MVP is a massive one. They work really close with Matchroom Boxing and DAZN. Like, I would love to see Chantelle go off and work with MVP and completely change her career, similar to Amanda Serrano. I think that's how simple it could be, because Chantelle has everything. And that's probably the one thing she needs supporters is the marketing side, and we've seen what they've done with Amanda Serrano as being absolutely incredible. Someone's put Taylor will always be pushed more than anyone, and now they're starting to make the push with Sky Nicholson. We'll go too much into Sky just yet, but it is very true. You see how often Sky fights, just the opportunities she's got. She's constantly out, isn't she? I mean, I always make jokes like she's got so many stamps in her passport. She travels the world, doesn't she, on shows? So they do tend to pick, don't they, a couple of like, you're the poster girl, so you're the focus.
And I feel with Chantelle, it's a shame because she's an absolute brilliant fighter. She deserves to be somewhere where she's going to be the absolute superstar, the pinnacle of that promotion. So I feel like someone should pick her up and make her their star, to be honest.
It's like when Raven Chapman signed with Frank Warren, because she knew Matchroom already had Sky in the same weight, so you're not competing with that. Boxer already had Karis Hartenstall, so Raven made the smart decision of, okay, that's fine, because I think that she could have got snapped up by either of them, but she's like, well, I'm going to be the poster girl here. I'm going to be like the queen of Queensbury, and that's quite a smart move to do. You want to be the face of your promotion, don't you? Like Michaela Mayer with Top Rank as well.
Yeah.
Sets you apart then, doesn't it? And you see how much, like, Michaela Mayer is another great example of she's being pushed correctly. The opportunities she gets, you always either hear her or see her on TV, comms, punditry. So it does make a difference.
And with Golden Boy, you Val, how much do they push her?
Massive.
Like, they make her out, they treat her like a Canelo.
Her ring walk was insane. Love it. She had some budget for that ring walk. I was impressed with that. They put some money behind that.
Like Canelo over there or something. Yeah.
Oh, if no one's seen it, you must have a look on YouTube. It's one of my favorite ring walks so far. That was brilliant. So should Chantelle Cameron feel hard done by, in the sense of, obviously we all know she's won the first one. She's had to go back to Dublin as reigning champion. She's now lost her belts at 140. Or, like a lot of people have said, is she's had 2 massive paydays with a potential third. So is she going to feel as hard done by as maybe I feel for her?
Yeah, I think she will be, because, don't get me wrong, she's going to be completely grateful for what she's been given. You know, she has had some great opportunities as well. But at the end of the day, she has, that first fight, she was treated like the B-side, and she was the champion. She had to go in there, ring walk second. Everyone was against her, the whole it was a completely hostile environment for her. Also, she was made the bad girl, wasn't she, for the whole Ellie Scottney being pushed off the card. So there was a number of things that were like really pushed onto her. Lots of little things that added up that could have completely thrown her from her game. Whereas if she was the absolute poster girl for Matchroom, say there wasn't Katie Taylor, was for someone else, they would have put every advantage her way. Yeah. They wouldn't have let that Ellie Scottney thing become an issue, or at least not get into her head or anything. They would have made sure that she was at a venue where it wasn't going to be so hostile, so it was going to give her every advantage. Whereas in this, because she was the B-side, she got every disadvantage, but yet still came out on top. Then with this fight again, although they did push that she was the champion more, she was slightly more a champion, she was still, in theory, the B-side, still the same kind of environment. And I feel like, again, if she'd been more looked after, made more the star, it could have made the difference, even like on Saturday, last night. Yeah. That's how thin these margins. I think someone else is saying that the margins are quite thin when you get to this quality of opponents. Yeah. All it takes is some sort of like little thing to throw you off. So if you don't look after your fighter, little things become big things. And I think, so therefore, I think she might go away feeling like, if these things have been all more on my side, I might have come away with a win. You don't know. Yeah. And also for me, she's not motivated by money. Don't get me wrong. You want money. Fighters want to make money. I understand that's got to make sense. But she took that first fight within 24 hours. Yeah. And I don't think she was paid nowhere near what people think she was paid. Because Eddie Hearn knew she wanted the fight, and she probably would have done it for free, because she wanted the fight. She wanted to prove she could win, and she'd done that. So I don't think she got anywhere near what people are thinking. I think she would have obviously got more for the rematch. And don't get me wrong, she'll get mega money for the Croke Park fight, but I still think she would have fucked off all the money for the opportunity to become a 2-weight undisputed champion herself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't think her motivation is money. Like she kept saying in the build-up, she wants to be able to create her legacy, and she's being held back. And that's like a constant narrative that she was talking about in the build-up. I don't think it is about money, because I think she knows the money will come anyway. She is that good that, she's going to start getting paid more and more for these fights. But, I think I would feel hard done by. Yeah. We haven't even got into the fight, which we will in a bit, but I'd really feel hard done by after the actual fight. But the whole build up, like you say, and it is these small things, and it must feel horrendous thinking she's worked her whole career, all the way from like in the amateurs, her whole career, finally become undisputed eventually, and she's still not being treated like an undisputed champion. Yeah. That must be heartbreaking as a fighter, thinking there's nothing else. She must sit there and go, what else can I do now? What else can I do to get like the respect and the acknowledgement like I deserve? I mean, like I said, she should, in theory, be 3-weight, undisputed. Yeah. Unbelievable. And the fact that, like you said, she should be paid like £1 million a fight potentially. I think we'd be very shocked to find out what she got paid for both these fights, to be honest.
I think the first one is a lot less than what people think. I think this one is still significantly less than what people think. I think there's definitely more, but it's nowhere near what people, when they're saying, "Oh, she's not set for life after these two fights." I'm telling you
No.
now, she might be after Croke Park, but again, the issue she's going to have at Croke Park is she's in competition with Amanda Serrano now to get that fight. But again, we'll go on to that because that's a bit odd for me. But she's absolutely no way set for life after these two fights, and which is shocking. I know Katie Taylor would have got paid a lot. She deserves to be paid a lot. Katie Taylor, we should be talking about 7 figures a fight now for Katie Taylor. She's getting any less than that, it's a disservice to her. She is one of the best to have ever entered the ring. Surely by now she's getting, I know she got 7 figures for Amanda Serrano. I would hope every fight from then she's getting 7 figures. Anything else is too little. But I think we're talking a lot less for Chantelle.
I bet she didn't get 7 figures though, Katie Taylor, because they didn't make a song and dance of it.
No, that is true. That is true.
I think she would have got a reasonable, but I don't think she would have got $1 million, which is a shame because once you reach that peak, like you said, it should be every fight.
You feel like you're getting a pay cut.
Unless it's like a keep busy fight, then it should be that level.
Yeah, I think you should start having like a bit of a base salary, shouldn't you? Of this is what you're worth per fight. But when we're talking about mega fights, I can get you X amount extra, or you can look at ticket sales or whatever. But I mean, I would hope then it's at least high 6s. Or even that. I don't know. Could it be mid? I don't know. But I'm telling you now, I reckon Chantelle, I don't know, I'm not even going to guess on live, but I've got something in my head and I just don't think it's what people think.
200K. I reckon it was lower than that.
What, 200?
Oh, I reckon it's a lot lower than 200.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah, same. And what people have to remember is by the time you are taxed and all that rubbish comes off, which we all get, obviously she's got a percentage coming out left, right and centre from everyone and, her team and promotion company, which I would ask for my money back from them. Loads of things. It's not, and then your camp is like, life is expensive. And the thing with Chantelle is she's not had a consistent kind of career in the sense of she doesn't really know when her next fight is. You don't know when you're next getting that money in. So I don't think she's set for life by any stretch from these two. However, I would like to think the Croke Park fight and hopefully fights after, she will be, but we'll see. I would like boxing to start releasing what people are making.
I think, like you say, people would just be shocked.
Yeah.
It is really. And like you say, when you take into consideration what a normal wage would be over a certain period of time.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I think people think that think it is, but even just camp life is very expensive. Yeah. It's not like a day-to-day life, is it? You've got so much more that you're having to put money into then you've got all these percentages coming off people and it's just mad. But I would like to see, because also it'd be interesting the disparity between men and women still, because I don't like it when people are like, look at women's boxing's like made now, because it's great, but we're still like a million miles away, aren't we? Yeah. And when we're talking about Katie Taylor potentially not getting 7 figures for that fight, that's quite concerning, because if she can't do it, we're struggling then, aren't we, again? So
I really don't reckon she has, because I think they would have made a song and dance of it.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, that's true, because I think obviously Katie and Amanda did. Clarissa and Savannah, did they talk about the 7 figures? I know Clarissa's made 7 figures in a fight.
Yeah.
That's definitely been a discussion point.
Yeah, usually people make a big thing of it if it's reached that point.
Yeah. Now, we're going to get on to like our opinions of the fight, but my first question has to be, we're in round 1. Oh, actually, what about the ring walks? Actually, let's start with the ring walks. Oh, I love a good ring walk. I love Katie Taylor's ring walks. I always like tear up watching them, because like the Madison Square Garden one was like epic. And obviously I was saying I'm like an Amanda fan, but I was like, this is big. This is a big special moment. I was lucky enough to be at the 3 Arena, and that was like the first time around. That was insane.
Yeah.
And even on the TV last night, I was like, wow, she's just captivates everyone in the building, doesn't she? Like she just comes out and she has this aura about her immediately, doesn't she? And everyone's just has this buzz. And actually, I quite liked it this time because it wasn't too faffy. I thought she took the moment in, then she got into the ring, because I thought, don't be standing there for 7 minutes again. It's getting late now. Come on, Katie, get a shift on now because I'm not having that again.
But you're right. She has definitely got this presence about her.
Yeah.
And then combine that with an Irish crowd, and it was special.
Yeah. It's just silly, isn't it? And then I like Chantal's ring walk. She's always got a funky one. She's got a mixture of music, which I always like. But again, like, I think I liked it this time, especially from Katie. I know Eddie Hare was making comments about, the build-up last time was too much for her, blah, 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 blah. I think she was asked to put a bit of a show on the first time round with that ring walk and having someone out singing and stuff like that. And I think I did like this time because it was just like back to Katie Taylor, like get rid of all the gimmicks, come out, take the moment in, which I think is important, but then get in the ring and just crack on with it.
Yeah.
Which I'm more of a fan. I would like saying with Chantelle, I think we got to see a ring walk from the dressing room, but then it's like take it in, have a look, get in booed, get in. Get it done and dusted. So, but I did like a good ring walk, I must say. I like that arena in general. I kind of like the stage that they come onto and the ramp.
Yeah.
And on. I must say, I'm a fan.
It looks nice on the TV.
It looks good. And I remember when I got to sit there last time, you kind of where I sat was like not far from the ramp, but then you're kind of facing the whole crowd, which is so incredible to see. And it's all in like green lights and everyone's like torches are on the phone and stuff. It is really incredible to see. So obviously the fight started.
Yeah.
I thought Katie come out all guns blazing, absolutely destroyed the first 60 seconds. I was like, oh shit, she's like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare for Chantelle. Chantelle then for me come in to herself in that second minute and she done in my opinion, punch perfect, stiff jab, buckled Katie, she stiffened up and she fell. And the referee goes, no, it was a slip or whatever he wanted to call it. But it didn't count as a knockdown. What? How?
You think it's a knockdown?
No, but I don't think that's factual. That is fact, isn't it? That was a knockdown, was it not?
Well, I didn't feel like it was a knockdown.
What?
Because when you look back,
Suzy, no. You are one of these trolls on my Twitter. You must be then. How is that not a knockdown?
Because it looks like in the pictures, the way that Chantelle's foot is, it does look like it catches her foot. Because the way she goes like a tree, I feel like it was a foot caught moment. No.
Here's my argument though. You've got some people going, she stood on her foot. You've got other Eddie Hearn said it was a push. I mean, it's not a push, it's a good jab. I just saw her honestly, watch the slow-mo. If it was a trip and she was all loose, she would have just kind of tripped back. But her legs like buckled and stiffened. That doesn't happen. If you stand on my toe, I won't be happy. But if you stand on my toe, I'm telling you, that is not my no. No.
I feel like it was when I watched
it. No, it's not. No, it's a knockdown. I'm telling you now, that is a knockdown. I won't have anyone tell me otherwise. That's a knockdown in my opinion. I'm actually really shocked at you and disappointed.
But I do believe the Chantelle won that round, definitely. But I loved that round because it really felt like they weren't messing either of them. Both of them literally felt like they were both looking for a knockout in the first round.
There was no feel out, was that? There was no like, let's find our range, let's take our time. It was like no respect for each other. It was like, I'm just going to punch shit out of you and win this. Okay, interesting, because I was actually going to ask, because for me it was a knockdown. For comments, even a commentator, because we'll go on to that in a bit, because oh my goodness me. But even one of them said it was a knockdown. And quite a few people who've disagreed with what I've said on Twitter did say it was a knockdown. Now, let's say then I'm right, because I am. Let's say it was a knockdown. Okay. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but Chantelle would have still lost the fight, which isn't true either, based on the scorecard. But that completely changes the whole momentum of the fight. Yes. So what you can't then do, which I never found when people do this in sport in general, go, oh, well, that decision was wrong. However, we still won this, because decisions change momentum. So when you're looking at round one, if Chantelle Cameron gets that 10-8 round, that one, Chantelle's confidence is through the roof from round one.
Agree. It changes everything.
Katie is panicking. Okay. That momentum has kind of changed I don't know what Chantelle Cameron thinks. It'd be interesting. I presume based on a team's reaction that they thought it was a knockdown. I just feel like straight away you'd be like, "Oh god, this is gonna be a long night for me," because I've already not got that decision. Do you know what I mean? I just think that is
Yeah.
such a big decision, and, I mean, in round 1, that is a huge shift. Knockdown all the way. I'm telling you, I need you to watch that back soon.
I've watched it a few times.
You've
I
watched
just
it wrong. No, I'm joking.
your eyes.
But
um,
it is such an important moment in the fight, isn't it?
like you say, it's a shame because either way, it's awful because it, it's just such a horrible thing in the fight to happen. Because, like you say,
Yeah.
if it was an accidental, she goes down, then she almost loses her momentum as well. Anyway, Katie, because she's fallen down and then thinks, "Oh gosh, does anyone think that's a knockdown?" You know, and she loses
Yeah.
her. And like you say, then Chantelle thinks, "Oh gosh, I didn't get given that," and then loses her. It's horrible either way in a way.
It is a bit awkward. I think it is for me, I think that's more quite a big shift straight away in the fight. I think the fact that it's in round 1, I think both fighters it can change quite quickly for them, like you say. And I do think I would believe Chantelle would have thought that was a knockdown. I'm sure she would have. It'd be great to hear her opinion, but
Yeah.
that is straight away, you're like, "Oh god," because you already have come out to a hostile crowd. It's already been a bit of a shitty week again in the sense like we've discussed.
You think you should rest
Um,
her and all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know someone's put Chantelle didn't complain. I mean, she can't complain, it's the middle of a round. There's not
Yeah.
really much that you can do. I think if you based on a corner, I think you can see Nigel Travis in the corner. I think he looked like he thought it was a knockdown. But yeah, I think that's a big first moment in
Yeah.
the fight, and I think let's say it was, that is a momentum shift. But if it wasn't, then the right decisions happen then, because obviously you don't want to give someone a 10-8 round. So I think that's
Yeah.
fair. So kind of we obviously I think I gave Chantelle round 1, like yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Round 2, round 3 happens, and that head clash.
Oh, that was inevitable, wasn't it? Unfortunately,
Every time though.
the way and like I do agree. Katie was just swinging him with her head, and I felt like it was inevitable it was
As
going to
she
happen.
goes to throw that right hand, she leads with her head. Honestly, she actually leads with her head, and I get what people are saying, and I'm not it probably sounds like I've criticised Katie Taylor loads. Actually, I'm criticising Matchroom the whole time until this bit, and this is where I'll criticise Katie Taylor a little bit of. If people go, "Oh, it's an accidental head clash," and I'm not saying she's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
However, when you look at Katie Taylor's past fights and Chantelle Cameron's past fights, whose opponents have more head clashes?
Yeah.
Delphine Pursoon got her nose broken by Katie Taylor's head.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a head clash with Amanda Serrano, but it didn't end up that bad. If if you look at past opponents, um, if you look at past opponents, it's it's Katie's opponents who are suffering head clashes, and I don't think that's necessarily a coincidence.
Yeah.
I
Well,
do
it's just
think
definitely a style, isn't it? Like you said.
yeah, I don't think she's going in, like, nutting people on purpose, but what
No.
I think is, like, she does like to get people close in, and as she's getting in, she likes these shorter shots, and she does kind of as she's transferring her weight, like, her head does come in. So it's only gonna happen, but, oh god, that was nasty.
Yeah.
That was nasty.
Like I say, it's just frustrating because there are certain fighters that do tend to come in and do that. But like you say, really, it should be down to the ref as well to be monitoring that and making sure that he warns her to back off where she can. Because if we can see it's inevitable, surely the ref can see it's inevitable.
Yeah, and to be fair, at least I'm surprised there wasn't another cut and another one, but however, that cut kept splitting open though. Um, and again, like, does that head clash impact the fight for the remainder of the fight?
100%. It can't be, you know.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was in a place where it didn't affect her vision or anything too much because I don't think it was pouring into her eye too much, was it? I can't.
No, so it kind of like would come down off the eyebrow, wouldn't it?
So
Yeah.
she was lucky in that sense, although I was worried it was going to be stopped at one point.
Twice, I think the doctor had to look, didn't he?
Yeah. I've completely forgotten my trail of thought now. I was talking about where was I going with this? I don't even know.
But for me, though, that head clash, regardless of where it is, when it's massive, she's losing a lot of blood. Surely you're a bit concussed from that. A cut like that, that's a big clash of heads, isn't it? That's big. If you saw something like that in football, they get taken off, don't they? Because it's a concussion. So you're kind of fighting the rest of the fight concussed a little bit, aren't you then?
Oh, that's where I was going, as to how it affects the fight, isn't it? So, yeah, no, totally, because you've got a cut there, with this blood coming, you're going to be constantly trying to wipe around the areas, it's putting you off and distract you. And also, I've heard from other fighters that as soon as you see blood, your fight changes, because it almost makes you go for them more and got something to aim for.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Katie's done perfectly, though. She saw blood, she's got a target, and she's done exactly what she needed to do. And I thought the cut man in Chantelle's corner done a great job, because she'd come back every round and it looked nice and neat. And but obviously Katie knows what she's doing. And there was a couple of rounds, especially was at the last round, second to last round, and it was just pouring again. But that's because Katie's landing there, because of course she went. And obviously it makes Katie hungrier, and the fact that the doctor come in twice to look at it.
Yeah.
And well, you've got to be winning every round now, because this could get stopped at any minute. And as soon as it gets past that fourth round, we're going to the scorecards.
And it sways judges in swing rounds.
Yeah.
Because you can look at it, you go, well, I can't decide who. And then you're like, well, who looks like they've been beaten up? Well, she's got the cut. I mean, it shouldn't be like that, but you can just see when it's like there's swing rounds.
Some of them rounds are close. If you look at the punch stats, there's literally like one punch dividing them. It's very hard sometimes to see what landed. Didn't think the camera angle was great last night at times. There were times that I could not see if anything had landed, because you get so close. I honestly just didn't have a clue if anything was landing between them. And the problem is you can't really go off what the commentary say, because we'll go on to that, but you can't really go off what they're saying to have like a good outlook on it. So it was quite tough. But I think it's a shame for anyone to have a clash of heads, especially. And I know it was accidental. You don't mind when there's cuts open from punches landing, because that's part of the sport, isn't it? But it's always a bit of a shame. And I do think it impacts, especially so early on in the fight, like round 3 is early. That's not ideal at all. And like I say, I just feel like you'd be concussed automatically from that, because that's a massive, massive impact, isn't it? To open it that much as well, because it was deep.
And I think, with her going in, I just feel like it was like, because Katie Taylor was a beast, wasn't she? She just literally laid it all on the line.
Yeah.
So she just went in, brawled if she needed to, whatever she needed. She just literally, I'd say, she expended 98% of her energy in that fight. She literally all out on the line and went for it. And I think that's the other thing, they're coming in so close with that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Try and win that fight then.
It's always going to happen, I suppose, isn't it? I think it's just a shame that this time it opened up and it was just like a bit of a nasty cut. But I suppose it is what it is. Aside from that then, so what did you make of the fight in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think I liked it more than you.
No, that didn't go down well.
I do you know what? I agree with you with the holding towards the end of the fight, especially because obviously there was a lot of tiredness going on. There was a lot of holding. But I did love the fight, because it was literally one of those fights that I love a fight when I can literally be sat on the edge of my seat, jumping up, shouting, really feeling like part of it. Because I mean, it's when you got a fight and you just literally sat there waiting for the time to pass. I hate that. But this, I was literally there with it.
Like some fights on the undercard.
So I love the fact that, and especially early on, like I said, when they're putting everything on the line and they're using up all their energy, they're really like couldn't give it anymore. I love those kind of fights, and that's what I take away from that. That I love that kind of fight. So I can forgive some of the holding for that, because I enjoyed it so much. What about you?
I just didn't enjoy it, did I? I think the issue I had was that I thought the referee was dreadful and just did not control the fight correctly. So you can't blame the fighters for that, because I think they're doing whatever they need to do to win. That's what you're going to do. I understand there were times that Katie was holding, because I think Chantelle, even though the commentary wouldn't let you know, she was landing big shots. She was landing some really good uppercuts, especially in the second half of the fight. But I think for me, it was one of them of when they were fighting, It was unbelievable. You're talking high skill, high quality, high energy, everything that you want in a fight, and it was amazing. And then it would be broken down. There was a lot of holding and clinching. Now I get that's obviously Katie Taylor wants the breakdown. Chantelle, and that's what she done very well. Like, she neutralized the jab. She kind of stopped her from doing anything she'd done the first fight. So I get it. But from an entertainment point of view, I wouldn't sit here and say it was the best female fight I've ever watched. And a lot of people have. And I don't know if people have got carried away with the atmosphere, because it looks like the best atmosphere you could be a part of. I don't think it was the best fight. I do think it had glimpses of, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a great fight in the sense of you got two of the best in the ring. But I think there was just that much holding, which I'm just not a fan of in general, because I just don't think it's as good to watch. I much prefer kind of the first fight, or the Amanda Serrano-Katie fight, where it's non-stop going for each other. And it had aspects of that, but it just wasn't consistent enough for me. And the last 3 rounds, just far too much holding, and there's no warning. I don't get why they're not getting broke up and having a conversation. There's nothing. I don't understand, because I get why Katie Taylor's doing it. And I think, like you said, she exerted so much energy winning the rounds that she won, that she'd done what any other fighter would do and would try and hold on. But we've seen fighters just the other week, someone lost like a point and then got another point deducted for the exact same thing. So I think it's the lack of consistency again. I think it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating in the sport, isn't it? Depending on the ref, you get how the outcome of the fight is.
I just think the last ref, the American woman, I always forget her name. But she was the one who done the first fight. She controls fights so well. And she done what she needed to do with Katie and Chantelle in that last fight to make it kind of flow the way it did. This ref, I just think he was just probably enjoying it so much that he forgot he was doing a job. It was like, he's like, oh, I've just got the best seat in the house, so I'm not going to do anything.
That's another thing for the end, later on, which we need to bring into it. The comments about the ref smiling at the end. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. He was just living his best life, wasn't he? Like, fair play. I mean, why not? I would love that. I would love to be that close to the action, but like, you've got a job to do. And I genuinely think at times he forgot he had a job to do. And he was just like, wow, this is unreal. Like, look what I just wasn't a fan. Like, I forget her name. I need to find it. We need to bring her back. She's the best for me. I always love when she's in the ring, but yeah, he was shit. I didn't like him. Because you have got a job to do. You have got to control the flow of the fight. Yeah. And you have got to make sure that you can't be clinching constantly.
And she's getting frustrated with it, because she
So is this where she's lost the fight? Has she got in her own head and got overly frustrated and kind of lost her game plan? Because I think she's potentially lost rounds, because I think because she's getting so pissed off and she keeps looking at the ref. And at one point she's looked at the ref, but he's not done anything. So Katie's through, because she can throw, because he's not stopped the fight. So she's allowed to do that. So I feel like there was a couple of rounds in the middle where Chantelle's kind of got so frustrated because Katie's frustrating her, which again is Katie's job. So fair, but that's like, that's what you're meant to do. And then the ref hasn't done his job. And I think you can visibly see. And every time Katie's holding on, she's got her arms out. She's just looking at the ref to be like, right, come on. Are we going to do something? We're going to say something. And he's asking them to work out themselves. But as she's looking, Katie's throwing, which is what I would do as well. Because he's not asked just to, break. Yeah. So you can continue. So, has she potentially got overly frustrated at times, do you think?
Yeah, potentially, because she was, especially towards the end, when she knew that, like, towards the end of the fight, when she's having to try and prove herself in the last few rounds. Yeah, you could see when she was, like you said, holding her arms out as if to say, "Can you, raise the palm?" Like almost like trying to go floppy and come down and out of it. And then another time, she's like full on wrestled Katie against the ropes to get her off. At one point, I think she got so frustrated, she like sort of bulldozed her into the side just to push her off. Yeah. And I think I was almost worried that the ref was going to tell Chantelle off for that bit.
Well, I think she then got warned for shoulder and elbows, but I was a bit like, well, you're asking her, you're not breaking them. You're asking her to get out. Her arms are tied up, so I don't quite know how he wanted it to get out. Like,
Yeah.
Like flip her on her back. Like she's limited to what she can do then. So I know some people are like, yeah, but Chantelle was going over shoulders and elbows, but I was a bit like, well, she's got to do something, hasn't she? Do you know? It was just a scrappy fight from both of them at times, to be fair.
And that whole trick where you lean your weight on someone. I could see like Katie trying to do that to Chantelle at times.
Yeah.
So it's both of them using all these little tactics to their advantage all through the fight.
Yeah, definitely. And it did. I think that's why I said I didn't enjoy it. Probably there were definitely aspects of it, and I was like, wow, we are looking at two of the best female fighters in the ring, and it is unbelievable. Like I say, their skill set is so high. And you're looking at Katie Taylor, she's unbelievable. Like it's vintage Katie Taylor, wasn't it? Footwork, which wasn't there the first fight, impeccable. Hand speed genuinely is ridiculous, isn't it? It is just silly how
Yeah, can't even see it.
It's just unreal, isn't it? And then obviously you've got Chantelle, who's got just the same hand speed. She's got lovely power. She had good variation. So you're like, wow, this is actually incredible. But it was just so scrappy at times. That's why when I say I didn't enjoy it, for me, I think probably comparing it to the magnitude of what everyone else is saying, I can't put it the same. I couldn't sit there and say it's the best female fight. It might be the best female headlined event when you're including kind of the narrative, the crowd, the atmosphere, or Ed Sheeran being ringside. When you can include all that, potentially, but it's not the best fight, is it?
Yeah.
So
you're convinced now.
Have I convinced you about round one knockdown or no?
As in, no, just about the whole fight in general.
But do you know what I mean?
Because I felt like I was very emotional watching it almost. Like you say, you get away, and I'm like, wow, it's one of my, one of the fights of the year and what have you. But like you say, when you break it down, there was a lot of reasons why I loved that fight, not necessarily just the action at times.
Yeah. I think it's everything that goes with it, isn't it? It's still a very good fight. I mean, it's always going to be enjoyable watching two of the best in the ring, isn't it? But it wasn't as good as the first fight in the sense of like the action. But not every fight is going to be also. And Katie Taylor did what she needed to do to win. So that's what you got to do, isn't it?
I don't understand all the people saying how wide Katie won that. Because for me, it was a draw. I scored it a draw. However, because it was so close, I can understand if it was closely given to Katie Taylor. I kind of get that. But to be 98, 92, I don't understand that at all. Because I had Chantelle winning the first two. Then I had Katie winning the next two. And then after that, it was pretty much anyone. So I just felt like I was like, oh, Katie, oh, Chantelle, oh. It felt like
it kind of went back and forth for me.
Yeah. Or from
it's a draw kind of throughout the fight.
Yeah, it just kept on being like, for every stage. I was like, oh, actually, it's a draw again. Oh, draw again. So by the end of it, I felt like a draw would have been a really fair result. So then I was very shocked at the 98, 92. And then I saw other people on Twitter saying they felt it was that wide as well. And I was thinking, well, they must have been very generous to Katie in those sort of swing rounds.
It wasn't 98, 92 in my opinion. I think I had it a draw. It was fair. But I had it a draw and then I would have given a 10-8 round. So actually Chantelle would have won on my card in theory. I'm not mad that Katie won because it was that close. There were swing rounds that I think 96, 94 to either fighter or a draw. You can't argue. You just cannot argue. I don't get 98, 92 in my opinion. I know people keep saying about like here the punch stats. It's not quite how it works. So for me, I don't think you can just, if it was that simple as looking at punch stats, you would just get the punch stats at the end of the fight and go, right, you've got a higher percentage, so you've won that one and that round. So for me, I'm not a fan of all of that. I think it's good to look after the fact, but if it was that simple, that's how fights would be scored. So for me, it's a no for me. But yeah, I think 96, 94 can live with. I think one judge had it 95, 95, which if you imagine with Chantelle being the away fighter, you know what I mean? It wasn't wide.
No.
For me, I think the crowd has a big influence. I think any time Katie threw, she would know his land because you're not going to land every time. I think that's fine.
And they were
and you would think she'd knocked her out, but again, I mean, that's the fan base that you want, isn't it? At the end of the day, so I think that had an influence behind it. But Yeah, I mean, you can't be mad at Katie winning. I think that makes sense. But I didn't like the 98-92 scorecard.
No.
I actually thought it was going to be a draw when they were reading out. Well,
Yeah, me.
I say that, sorry. They said 95-95, didn't they? And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a draw. Because then I thought it would go one Chantelle, one Katie. But then I heard 98-92 and I was like, oh. And I think if you see Nigel Travis's face in the corner, as soon as 98-92 was read out, he knew that they weren't winning. Because you just, that scorecard's so wide that you couldn't have given that to Chantelle in that night. So, yeah, I think it's a shame.
Well, couldn't really have given it to Katie either, but there we are.
You knew it was going to go, if it was going to go to one of them, but yeah, I know what you mean. But I think he knew straight away. He was like, well, that's not going to us. I was like, Jesus Christ. So, because it was a very different fight, wasn't it, from the first fight?
Yeah.
What's different? What was different for you then? Because it was a very different fight.
For me, the factor probably was more, I think it was more Katie who stepped it up, to be honest. I think potentially, obviously it wasn't Chantelle's night and things might have got to her and she got frustrated within the fight. But it was Katie that's literally, I felt like she literally fought like it was
her last fight.
It meant everything, that fight. Like, she put everything on the line. It meant everything to her. It was just, the way she fought was unbelievable. She fought from deep within herself, if you know what I mean. She put everything. And I think that's what was the determining factor in the end. The fact that she had that spite and that grit and that drive from round one.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult then for Chantelle to get into the fight with that. I think then she got frustrated within that. And then it made it look very scrappy, like I said, at times, made it look a bit more.
Which is probably more suited to Katie Taylor's style, that she likes some fights, doesn't she? So, I mean, I'm so impressed with Katie Taylor's like mentality, in the sense of, like, obviously we know she's got a good mentality. You don't have the accolades she does by just being an average Joe, do you? But like, for me, I thought there was so much pressure on her coming into this one. And I genuinely thought, well, there's not on that Katie Taylor, you know, at this age, she's already hit a peak. There's no way she can come and do anything different. But, and a lot, you know, I'm sure people on here will say I was the only one saying that. Lots of people were saying that. But mainly me. No, lots of people were saying that way. And even, like, I think even Terry Harper come out and was like, she didn't think that, and she's a big Katie Taylor fan, she didn't think she could win this time around because such a dominant display from Chantelle the first time. But Katie Taylor just come with a different mindset, even in the build-up. I don't buy the bit of the bullshit from Eddie Hearn of last fight she was exhausted because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not a fan of all that. However, she has come with just pure, I don't give a shit about anyone. I'm not doing all this extra stuff. It's all about me. I'm here to win. And then she done the first 60 seconds proved that. She come in and she was like, no, I'm going to show you. Quicker than you. I'm this, and this. And she displayed all of that. And I think that was the difference for me, is that she had her footwork back, which we did not see in the last fight. I thought it was Chantelle. What Chantelle done well the first fight was use a jab to keep pushing Katie back on the ropes, and then could just kind of unleash on the ropes, and Katie wasn't quick enough to move off.
Yeah.
Chantelle really wasn't able to push Katie back as much this time because Katie was smothering her.
There was a particular moment in the third round, which was a good example of that, what you're talking about, where she tried to push her back towards the ropes, and then Katie just unleashed hell on her from the ropes, got her like a huge combination to the head, and then saw round. I was just like,
and that's what I don't think we've seen that in a long time from Katie Taylor. Is that of them? I mean, gosh, she can throw like 10 consistent punches, can't she? Like bam, 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 and then move off. Create an angle, go again. Like, it was unbelievable. So I think she's come back a completely different fighter. So, you know, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to her, really, because everyone and all these people who are criticizing my comments are probably the same people who have criticized Katie in the last couple of fights of, not the Chantelle fight, but, you know, the other ones where it's like, it wasn't a great performance, it was okay, she's just ticking by. That's probably the hungriest I think we've ever seen her in a professional boxing ring, without a doubt. And, you know, I think, what?
She was a beast.
Yeah, she was. She was just on a different level, wasn't she? And I think she just would not, like, she neutralized Chantelle's jab. And I think as soon as that happened, it was always going to be a bit of a long night for Chantelle. But I do think she adjusted. And I gave Chantelle a lot of the rounds because I thought she was having success on the inside. I think them uppercuts really went unnoticed for some reason. She landed some big shots, Chantelle, and she did have success a lot.
Body shot.
There was a lot just going kind of unnoticed. So I think, and that's why the fight was so close to me, because I think Katie really, really stepped it up. But Chantelle still managed to do what she can do. Probably wasn't her best night because of, obviously there was a bit of adversity with the cut and stuff, but she still was able to implement it to the best of her ability, kind of her strengths. But I think Katie done a good job at kind of scrapping that at times, which she didn't do the first time. I think she played to Chantelle's game the first time. And this time Chantelle's had to kind of, in a way, play Katie's game, but with success as well. So it would make the trilogy exciting though.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the third fight actually, because would Katie come back with as much hunger in this third one? Because obviously this was real, like she had to win this fight for herself.
Yeah.
In second homecoming. When it comes to the third one, will she have as much spite and drive? And then also, will now that Cameron's lost, will she come with more spite and drive? You know. So
it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So it looks like it's going to be at Croke Park. Katie Taylor has asked for this fight for like 100 years, it feels like. Obviously, there was discussions about the Amanda Serrano fight being at Croke Park, and then there was all different rumours about that, wasn't there? Because I know in theory Amanda pulled out with an injury. I also believe it could have been down to they scrapped the Croke Park fight because it was going to be too expensive, and they moved out the 3 Arena, just significantly holds a lot less people. So Amanda's purse wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
And I believe that was a main factor of Amanda not doing that fight. I wouldn't know if she was actually injured or not, because I think you've been promised Croke Park, 80,000 people. Here's your purse. Oh, no, we're going to do it at the 3 Arena with a lot less. I think that was one of the factors. I think obviously Casey's proved that she can sell Croke Park, because I know it's a lot less people at the 3 Arena, but like I said before, the gate money was really expensive this time. I think tickets would actually be cheaper at Croke Park because there's more of them.
Yeah.
So I think without a doubt it being at Croke Park will give her that hunger of, I've asked for this my whole career. I'm not losing. I cannot finally get this opportunity of fighting at Croke Park and lose. But like you say, Chantelle Cameron's going to be really, I mean, she was pissed off this week. How pissed off is she going to be the next week? But with the trilogy, it's not, I thought it would be, because Katie Taylor has said, oh, the trilogy at Croke Park. Eddie Hearn has said, yeah, it's going to be either Amanda Serrano or Chantelle Cameron.
Yeah.
Why isn't Chantelle Cameron getting the first go at getting her? Like, is there a rematch clause for Chantelle Cameron to win her belts back?
Well, that's the thing. This is where the favouritism again comes into it, in my opinion. They got their star, the belts. Then Chantelle can wait. It's whatever's best now for Katie. That's how it feels again.
I think
personally, I would rather see the trilogy before the Serrano fight. I know there's a few people that want the Serrano fight first, but I really want to see the end of this trilogy before Serrano.
Yeah. Just that quick before I say my bit, thank you, Sarah, because the ref is Sparkle Lee. And I love her. She's awesome. She's absolutely brilliant. You watch it on any fight. She's so good. And I got the chance of having a really brief conversation with her in Dublin last time. And she is just so lovely and very passionate about the sport. She's awesome. Yeah, so someone's put Katie can have the obviously 135 for Serrano and then Cameron 140. I've put on Twitter today that in an ideal world, I'd like to just see both of them at Croke Park, because I know Chantelle wants a homecoming. I think obviously that's going to have to be on the back burner, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think the best thing for Chantelle is I think I would take the immediate rematch if she gets the option at Croke Park. I think timing wise, it works out quite well because they can be looking for kind of like, I don't know, May, June for the Croke Park where they'll be nice.
Yeah, that's true.
It's quite good timing. Like for the next fight, I think it's a good, obviously she's got that nasty cut. She's not going to be, she's going to obviously have to heal that up and stuff like that, have a rest, regroup. I think the Croke Park fight works out well. The issue with it being at Croke Park, you probably have to, if you want two of them, you're going to have back-to-back fights within quick succession because of the weather. Yeah. That's what it comes at the end of the day, aren't you? So I wonder if they could do it where, could you risk a May fight at Croke Park and then a September fight, potentially? September's nice weather. Don't know. But I love Amanda Serrano, as you know, massive fan. Went all the way to New York to watch them fight the first time. Desperate for the rematch. But I want to see Chantelle Cameron Trilogy first. I think Amanda's got other opportunities and other fights.
Yeah.
I know Amanda wants to continue the 12 threes, which she wouldn't do in this fight. So I think go and do that. I'd like to see the Trilogy, and then I would like to see the Amanda rematch. And then I always say then Casey will retire, but clearly she's not going to. That performance last night was too good. There's no point retiring now, so she can carry on fighting.
We'll have a bit longer now.
Every time I've said someone's going to retire, they end up in like a massive fight, like Tasha Jonas, Michaela Mayer.
Yeah. Although I do think that this could be one of the last fights against Michaela Mayer.
You know what? You know when they all end up retiring like 10 years, I'm going to be like, I told you they'd retire.
He retired one day.
But yeah, so I just find like kind of the discussions interesting. Like it sounds like Katie wants Chantelle.
Yeah.
Which in all fairness, and I thought Amanda Serrano beat Katie Taylor the first fight. Which I don't know why I've just said that because everyone's going to shout at me. However, I think Katie Taylor would have more confidence in beating Amanda than Chantelle. Especially with the weight, obviously, Amanda having to move up to 135 doesn't particularly suit her.
Yeah.
So I suppose if you wanted a slight more of a guarantee of the perfect, like Croke Park homecoming, you would pick Amanda Serrano maybe just because of that. And obviously with Chantelle already beating her. So, but to me, so I think that could be like maybe Eddie Hearn's potential view. But I think Katie made it clear she wants Chantelle, doesn't she? Because she just wants big fights, doesn't she? She'll have both of them, one after the other.
Katie is a real fighter. She just loves fighting. She doesn't want to avoid anyone. She just wants the best fights, and I think it sparks her up the most and gives her the most. I mean, it just proves it. Having that loss has just really driven her so much to give her the amazing performance.
Yeah, like an immediate rematch as well. Like she didn't have to do that. I think she had probably with the backing of she probably could have had a fight and then still been guaranteed the Chantelle rematch. Do you know what I mean? She would have known that fight was never going to like run away from her. It was always going to be there when she needed it, but she took the immediate rematch. I think I wouldn't be upset with either of them. I would just like to think that it would make sense that Chantelle would have the opportunity of a rematch based on the fact that this fight was done on a rematch clause. In my opinion. But again, the Amanda Serrano was split decision. So we've got stuff like this. It was obviously close. That's why it was a split decision. So you can't be mad at seeing that fight again. But who does? I mean, I do think it's an easier sell, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor at Croke Park, because Amanda Serrano is now kind of more globally known.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose it's an easier sell. But however, when you're looking at the last two fights with Chantelle Cameron, I don't think they're going to struggle to sell 80,000 tickets.
Both sell. So like you say, why not make 2 in a row? Why not?
I'm sure there'll be a way that you can time it. And I can't see Katie Taylor being mad about having two fights within a somewhat. You could do it within a 5-month succession, which really is still a nice gap, isn't it? You have one fight, you have a little time off, you still get. It's not like Katie Taylor like balloons up in between camps, is it? She comes back fully fit. She won't need like a 16-week camp. So I think there could definitely be a way if you timed it, because obviously it's based on like weather, isn't it? When you're talking about like places like Croke Park, but I think you could easily squeeze them both in next year.
Yeah, unless they want to come and fight in Wales, because got the roof over the Millennium Stadium.
No, I like Ireland. You just want it closer to home.
Be nice and
easy. So last couple of things that I just wanted to kind of know your opinion on. So would you say, obviously Chantelle's now not getting any world titles, has her stock risen though?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. It's extra, they both did themselves so proud last night. Like, they both were amazing. Yeah. It's not like she got knocked out in round 1 or something like that. She put on such a great show. So yeah, it can only be bigger and better things from here on out.
Yeah, definitely. Katie must be a black belt in jiu-jitsu with all them clinches. Not badly style. I'll give you that one. That's a funny one. I mean, yeah, I think Chantelle's stock's definitely risen. Like I said earlier, I think it would have been mutually beneficial for them to maybe push her a little bit more. I think something Sky Sports have always, or have within recent times, been quite good at is promoting their fighters outside of boxing. So when you looked at like the Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall fight with Michaela May or Alicia Baumgardner, they were kind of all over the place on TV. You know, Michaela Mayer was on Soccer AM.
Yeah.
She can't actually kick a football that well, to be fair to her. And I love Michaela Mayer, but soccer is not her sport. But she's on Soccer AM. You know what I mean? That like getting out there, getting the name known. I think that doesn't quite happen on DAZN because obviously it's a different style of platform. But I do think it would have been mutually beneficial for everyone if maybe they would have pushed Chantelle more, because like I say, she is still quite young, she's early 30s. Still some big fights. You can still go on. Obviously, you got the Trilogy. You've still potentially got Tasha Jonas, Sandy Ryan, Michaela Mayer, Terry Harper. Like the list goes on, doesn't it, of mega fights? So, but her stock has risen, even though she's currently not got any belts. And like I said on Twitter, I think regardless of the Trilogy, I would like to think she's first in line at 147 now. To get an opportunity there to get a belt. She's got Jessica McCaskill again at 147. Obviously, she's still got the belts after the Sandy Ryan fight. Sandy Ryan's got one of the belts. They don't particularly like each other. And Sandy was in Katie's camp the last couple of weeks.
And Katie sung her praises, saying she was an important part of the camp.
Imagine that. Imagine listening to that. Like you're sitting at home watching it, the press conference, and Katie Taylor starts saying how important you've been for her camp. You must be like, oh, I'm shit hot right now. I'm good. She's probably not asked about that shitty decision against Jessica McCaskill. She's like, I have made it.
Now, that's another situation that annoys me, though, because obviously we all agree that Sandy Ryan should have won that fight.
Yeah.
And she should be undisputed, because I'm sorry, but those belts shouldn't have been dispersed. You know, so McCaskill should still be undisputed, and it should be Sandy Ryan undisputed.
Yeah.
I mean,
against like Tasha Jonas, Michaela Mayer.
Mad.
Yeah, it's just the strangest sport.
Don't get me wrong, I love Michaela Mayer and this Natasha Jonas fight, but there's a part of me that just doesn't like that fight at all.
I know you don't. I was shocked at that.
Because of the politics. The actual thought of those two fighting is great, obviously. Yeah. Two great. But it annoys me because it's not really Natasha Jonas' weight, because she came down and took a belt that was kind of vacated unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And then also it's not Michaela Mayer's weight. She's coming up. So I feel like they're both coming to a weight that's not their own to get a belt that's been taken off someone. But that's just annoying me because of the politics, nothing to do with the fighters. Obviously love Natasha Jonas and Michaela Mayer, but it's just these annoying things.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I do get it. And like you say, Sandy Ryan should actually have the belts. I love the fight because it's in Liverpool.
That's
so
true.
I love it. No, I'm really excited for this fight. I actually didn't think it would be made. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, with or without a belt, I'd be excited for that fight. And the fact that Liverpool is great. You know what? I'm very happy that Tasha Jonas gets a homecoming in Liverpool, gets a headline. I know she's fought in Liverpool, but Tasha's a massive ticket seller, as is Michaela Mayer, for the reasons I've just said. Of she's been promoted quite well in the UK. And I'm not being funny. The last few fights that we've had in Liverpool have not sold well. So it would be nice to finally see the M&S Arena sell out again. Because I feel like the last one was Beefy and Anthony Fowler. The last time I've sat there with it sold out, and there's been quite a few shows since then, and they've not done that well.
Which is nuts when you consider how much of a fighting city.
Yeah. But I think we've had Matchroom put cards on. I don't think there's been one Scouser on the main card, which never really helps. So it's all like silly reasons like that, really. And there's been some poor shows from not Matchroom, but from I think it was Wasserman Boxing or Pro Bellum maybe. But yeah, so it'll be nice to see the M&S Arena. I think it'll be sold out. I know they're anticipating big sales because they're doing like pre-sale release and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that. But there's some potential options for Chantelle Cameron as well. In the future as well. Something I'm interested to know, what is going to happen with Katie Taylor's belts, because obviously she's undisputed in two weights, 135, 140. She's not defended the 135 belt for a long time. Caroline Dubois is waiting. She's mandatory for one of them. if they're wanting the trilogy, I'm still convinced they will want that at 140. So, but 135 is Katie's natural weight.
And they won't want to give up on that fight with Serrano either.
Literally didn't even think of that, of course, yeah.
Because Serrano won't
lose the one, yeah. And Serrano's not fighting without the belt.
So that is a tricky one. I mean, in theory, she has to obviously get rid of a whole set of belts, doesn't she? Because that's what everyone is. You can't hold the both.
Yeah.
But being the fact it's Katie Taylor, I could imagine the sanctioning body saying, as long as you fight both of them immediately, you could fight perhaps one, then the other, then vacate.
That's where I'm thinking of this like quick succession thing of if they get the time and right, I think you could have Cameron, and if she wins, vacate. She's done everything she's needed to do there. If she doesn't win, obviously Chantelle's got them, and then move on to Amanda Serrano or vice versa, whatever order you want to kind of do. But I think, yeah, the sanctional bodies would be quite brave to make her vacate because she's obviously the draw, isn't she? She, you know, you want her to have your belts.
And as long as there's a plan in place, then I don't.
But again, this is the inconsistency though, because you would have other, you know, you've had fighters win and they've been stripped 3 days later because they've not agreed to fight someone within however many months. Like, you know, and I know Caroline Dubois has said a couple of times now that, you know, I'm waiting, I'm mandatory. You've not defended your titles in X amount of time.
Yeah.
And so the issue is you do hold back divisions. However, again, I'm not mad if Katie keeps hold of all of them when you're talking about like potential fights in the mix.
I think it would be fair dues to have one after the other.
I think for boxing fans, do it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think the sanctioning bodies, I wouldn't be, if there's enough money on the line, they're going to try and go with that, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it will be interesting though. Will be very interesting.
Who's Bill?
What happens. Bill's the NFL team.
Oh, okay.
The no Jacksonville Jaguars, though. They're my team.
Of course.
And then, so I feel like that's it. We'll wrap that up for Katie Chantelle. I think that was good good fight.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly happy with all the card. But clearly I was a fussposs last night. I was obviously just not on anyone's side. I was being negative left, right and centre yesterday. But no, I am excited to see what happens. I know Chantelle Cameron's posted on Instagram today, just like thanking everyone. It'd be interesting to kind of see her thoughts when she's ready, because I'm sure she'll want time to herself. And I know obviously Katie Taylor's come out straight away today and tweeted Croke Park, posted on Instagram about Croke Park. So she's already thinking of the next fight. She's not waiting around. So I am excited to see kind of what comes. I don't know if we'll hear anything by the end of the year, but we'll see.
Can we just briefly mention as well at the end of the fact that the other female card in the event, Sky Nicholson, defending her WC title against Lucy Wildheart. First of all, I want to say about ring walks. Do you know what? I love both their ring walks.
They were so good. Such a good music choices from both.
Oh, love this music. It's Game of Thrones. And I think I like tweeted then. I was like, oh, I love this, blah, blah. And then immediately then Sky came out. I was like, oh my God, it's a bit of Tom Jones. I love this.
They were both good ring walks, weren't they?
Yeah.
I did enjoy them.
Obviously, then Sky did a business like she normally does and got the win. And the fact that the first stoppage she's ever had in her career, which is pretty, you know, it's great. What a card to do that on. I thought it was a bit strange at the time because I hadn't seen the corner put the towel in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, why are they stopping it?
Yeah.
But then obviously, the corner decided she was taking too much punishment at that point.
It was a strange fight for me. I know I kept saying, like, just wasn't the fight I imagined. I think if you look at the Lucy Wildheart that was against Michaela Mayer, I kind of expected something similar. I don't think we got that from Lucy. And that's credit to Sky also. I think Sky's obviously improving every fight. Obviously, since she's decided she doesn't want to do the amateurs again, I think that's the best decision she can make. I suppose she's like a different fighter now, got a different mentality. Definitely thought I thought it'd be more competitive than it was. But yeah, it is what it is. And I did think the stoppage was a bit strange. I saw the corner throw the towel in, but like someone rightly said on Twitter, your corner know you better than anyone.
Yeah.
And I would always rather see an early stoppage than a late stoppage. And Lucy didn't look to protest too much. So I don't know. I don't know if the occasion got to Lucy a little bit. I don't even think she landed a lot of punches in the end. I think where she struggled, I don't think Lucy's got the best footwork in the world. She's obviously comes from a kickboxer background, doesn't she? And I think she's got a very wide base and then can quite quickly like square up. And I think Sky knew to take advantage of that. And I think Sky was throwing a lot of single shots, which I was surprised about. I thought she was going to try and kind of step in and do a lot more combos than she did, but she didn't have to, I suppose, so it doesn't matter. But I think what Sky done well was kind of throw, and it was kind of that like out of range hook, but it worked, and then move off. And she was constantly making Lucy follow around the ring, and it just didn't suit Lucy. Because I don't think she had the quick enough footwork to keep up with her to be able to throw. So I think she just really struggled to kind of get into it at times, but I was surprised. But that is also down to Sky Nicholson for a good performance, isn't it? While we're talking about it, obviously I know she wants Amanda Serrano. And I get why she wants Amanda Serrano. Of course you do. You want a world title. Amanda's got all of them. That is the logical person to call out. Is that the next fight for Sky, or would you like to see her in a fight prior?
I would like to see her in a fight prior, because she's not just an ordinary world champion, is she, Serrano? That's the problem. She's that level above even again. So yeah, I like the idea I think you put forward on socials about Sarah Mahfood.
Yes.
I would quite like to see that as well, I think.
Obviously Sarah lost her title to Amanda Serrano. Sarah's a very good fighter though. Like you just said, Amanda Serrano isn't your normal world champion. Amanda Serrano is elite. She is one of the best. She's up there with, your Katie Taylors, Clarissa Shields, and Chantelle Camerons. They're above, aren't they? Kind of everyone else in a way. And I someone commented and was like, because I said I'd like that Sarah fight in between. Someone was like, well, and I get what they're saying. They're like, well, why? Because she's proved herself. And she has, but she hasn't at the same time because, and absolutely no disrespect to Lucy Wildheart, I'm a big fan. I actually think Lucy will bounce back and I think she'll have quite a nice journey in boxing. But she's not Amanda Serrano. Do you know what I mean? Because no one is. And I feel like you need, and I always say about the bridge the gap fights, of you need someone who has been in the ring at that world level. Now Sarah's been in the ring with Amanda Serrano. It doesn't get better than that to test where you are at. Like that for me is a perfect fight, or Bermuda's maybe, but I think there's fighters there that there's enough fighters there to pick one or two before going to Amanda. It's not like there's no one in between. Even on the rankings, actually, Raven Chapman's ranked higher than her. So if you actually look at the rankings, there's like, I think 6 girls higher, not including Amanda, that she could fight and really test herself and see where she's at. Because I don't think she was tested against Lucy on Saturday.
That's the thing. Like, people are saying, oh, why can't she just go straight to Serrano? Well, give her that ticket, let her go to Serrano. But what happens if she's not ready?
Yeah.
Better to give someone more of a chance by stepping them up properly, isn't it? Like you say, so you're actually being kinder.
It's a long way, isn't it? When you fall from world level, sometimes it's a long way back up. Why not have the patience and have 1 or 2 more fights and gain? It's such a valuable experience. If you're talking about like a Bermudez or a Sarah Morford, that even a Raven Chapman, that, that's invaluable. That is more than what, because I really don't think she got hit a lot in that fight yesterday. There's boxes that she still needs to tick, and she's just been that good that she's not had to yet. So that's not a discredit to Sky, but this is where now, like, you're in actually a really good division where you've got some really solid opponents. You've also got opponents from super bantamweight that would probably move up as well. There's enough opponents around there. I mean, would you be brave enough and going with an Erica Cruz then if you want Amanda Serrano? Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're short of world-class opponents before you're talking about. Because remember, once you are undisputed, there's no way back down then. Do you know what I mean? That's it. I don't like the big rush all the time. Sky's young. She's still in her 20s. I'm not a fan. And she'll continue to build your profile. She's doing a really good job of building a profile. Just continue to do that. Like, if she spent next year being in 2 or 3 fights with world-class fighters and then look for the undisputed, then why not? But I also think, and someone made a good point, that I think Amanda will have to vacate the WBC if she's wanting to do the 12 threes. So there might actually be a vacant belt for her anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't. For me, there's just not a big rush. There's no shame in not being a world champion. When Amanda Serrano was undisputed, you know what I mean? In your division, there's no shame. Then it's not like you're not credible, and you know she's still quite fresh from amateur. It was only like the other week she was going to go back to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So there's no rush for me.
No, I agree, 100%.
But we will see. Just another quick one. Tyson Gallagher fought on the Friday, and I have not watched it yet. I need to watch it, but Scorecards had was it a majority decision?
Yeah, so it was a close fight, and the fact that it, you know, she was an away fighter. she was on turf, so I'm impressed. Do you know what? Tycee's a little dark horse, isn't she? Really,
I like Tyson.
The only reason she's got some of these losses on her record is because she's taking these chances because she's not getting them anywhere else. She's taking her chances when she can, not being sort of handled with care. So she's just going for it, which is great. She's getting all this experience. It just proves that she's I think she's tested. She's world class.
Yeah, so, she is. I mean, her first loss was to Nina Hughes.
Yeah,
she's a world champion now. So, and that was a really close fight.
That's it. And then she went on to get the Commonwealth from Lisa Whiteside. I mean, quality fighter.
Yeah,
I know Lisa wasn't her best that night, but you know,
sometimes it's your opponent stopping you from being your best, though, isn't it? And I think Tyson Gallagher's really, really good. I think she is a dark horse. She'll have it. I like when people go off and get losses, and you look at the losses, and you're talking about world champions, and you think, yeah, I'd much rather that as a fighter.
Yeah,
the amount she's going to learn from that, and eventually come back. And I know she's always been in talks a little bit with Matchroom. I think her moment will come. She won't always have to be the away fighter. But yeah, it looked close. I've still not had a chance to watch it. I do believe it's on YouTube, though, I think, to be able to watch, which is handy. But I think she took a decent crowd with her from what I've seen on like Instagram as well. Like, fair play, because like that's impressive. And when we're saying away fighter, we mean like abroad. Like, we don't mean like you just pop on a coach 20 minutes down the road. Like, she's got these people on flights and to go and watch. And she had like a really good following there, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. I think she'll be a world champion.
Yeah.
It's just I'm looking excited as to how she gets the journey to get there.
Yeah, but it'll come. Got to be patient. Yeah. Like, I always compare fighters like that to Hannah Rankin. You've got to take all the opportunities, and eventually you'll get yours, won't you? And then you win. Yeah. Obviously, Hannah Rankin wasn't successful in her attempt to become a 3-time world champion. She lost out to Emma Cozen. But I think she'll bounce back. I know she says she was. She's not retiring. I'm not saying she is. I'm not saying she is. But there's a potential fight for someone like Terry Harper, because obviously that was 154 pounds, that fight as well.
Yeah. And we've got Raven fighting on the weekend, on Friday.
Love a bit of Raven Chapman. See, here's the fight for me. Like, let's get that WBC vacant and then have Sky Nicholson, Raven Chapman. Done.
I mean,
it's not happening, but like, what a fight.
Yeah.
And I know Karis Arkansas keeps like saying, you know, she's better than these girls and stuff. I'm not saying she's not. I think Karis is unbelievable, but she just isn't fighting a lot, is she? So
no. I mean, one of these fights, right? If you like you're saying, what a matchup, Sky versus Raven for a vacancy WBC. Imagine putting that in Saudi on one of the undercards.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
I think that's what I want to see for Raven now. She's on this. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see her on like a Fury card. However, on a good time slot, though. There's no point putting her on. And then because what she does get now is she is getting good time slots on these BT shows. And obviously, Christina O'Hara also just made her BT debut as well at the weekend. So obviously, I don't know what Hannah Rankin's contract. I don't know if that's a long-term contract, but I believe Christina O'Hara's is similar to Raven Chapman's. And Christina O'Hara is very, very good. She is, without a shadow of a doubt, world champion as well. So I do kind of like, I thought BT got off to a slow start with Raven. She didn't quite fight as often as I thought, because obviously she got that 60-second win. It felt like it was a while before she fought again, but now I feel like they're on a roll now with her.
Yes, and they keep on bringing her out for the different events. So yes, there's Tyson Fury like press conference. She's there, and she's
doing comms as well, wasn't she?
Good. She looks like a star.
She speaks very well, I think, Raven. I think she's got a really good ring IQ. So when she's doing things like, because not all boxers are suited to doing commentary. There are some
Yeah.
that go on, and I'm like, oh, this will be your last, I think, which is fine because I couldn't do it. So, but I think Raven goes on and she speaks very, very well. Even when she's just being interviewed at the side, I think she's got a lot of knowledge. So I think straight away people like that, they buy into it. And I think she would have gained a lot of fans from the work she's doing outside of the ring.
Yeah.
And then she goes in the ring and she's a great fight. She's very entertaining, isn't she?
Yeah.
So that's the fight for me. Let's see. Raven, I say it all the time, Raven Chapman, Sky Nicholson for the potential vacant WBC.
And you want the money, the little cut.
Yeah. Like, what fight have I made? Oh, I'm taking credit for?
Ryan versus Emma Dolan for the British title.
All me, that. All me. I made that fight after Emma Dolan's victory against Nicola Hopewell. I want 20% for that. No, I'll take 10. I'll take 10. But I am taking credit for that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking credit. I said it straight after, posted it out. We tagged Shannon Ryan in it.
Yeah.
That's all me. That's all me.
Credit to them both, actually. Again,
like that.
Fight they're both going to sign up for. Brilliant.
Yeah, I will really. I'm happy because I think we love Shannon Ryan, don't we? I think she's a great boxer. Yeah. She was really good on comms, by the way. Did you listen to her on the Before the Bell?
No, I didn't actually. Do you know what?
Really good.
I said because the commentary annoys me. I don't really listen to it anymore.
You put headphones in and listen to music.
Very rare. I listen to it. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I kind of like.
The Before the Bell commentary, like the fights, because I thought the fights were better on Before the Bell in the end. But Shannon Ryan, it's the first time I've heard her on comms. I think she was really good. Like her ring IQ is exceptional. Very, very knowledgeable. I really enjoyed that. So and she's a great fighter, and as is Emma Dolan. I'm glad Emma's going to get that platform because I know when I spoke to her after her last fight, that's what she wants. She wants that platform to show how good she is. Big fight though. Big fight for them. And, I love a domestic clash, so I'll be looking forward to that. And British title. Oh, we need to see so many more of these British titles. There's loads of weight classes that we could have them in.
Yeah. And America, Ebony's touchdown in America now. Ready for her. So that's 2 weeks yesterday.
Yeah. I'm
Big
excited. Has she got an opponent? Because has Avril Matthew pulled out?
Well, there's rumours, but right. I think at the moment it's still Avril Matthew.
I can't even remember where I read that.
I think it's International Boxing News because they seem to sort of come out with all these rumours. Okay. So I think they've put that out there, but there's rumours, but at the moment it's Avril.
Yeah. So. I'm just excited to see Ebony back. I think she's just had such a frustrating time with her injuries. It's not been ideal. Obviously, that nasty hand surgery. Not great. But new team as well. And I suppose the blessing is she's had so much more time with Dave now. And based on what you see on them videos, she's looking probably the best that she's ever looked, isn't she?
Yeah, she looks amazing shape. So I'm so excited. Like you say, post-injury, new team, America.
And Americans are going to love her as well. Like Americans are going to absolutely love her. And this is another way of having a good platform behind you and kind of, obviously Ebony does a lot of her own marketing as well, as we know, but it shows the power of it, doesn't it? And this is a big card. What a fantastic opportunity as well for Ebony to make a comeback, defend her world title again. This is a big platform to do. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I am very excited. Time difference, bit of a pain.
Yes.
That's what I'm not happy about. And plus, I would like to have watched it live, but so there's some things I'm not happy with. But equally, I'm very happy for her. And I presume you're getting up for that fight?
Oh, yeah.
You'll probably still be up. You haven't even went to bed at that time. It's fine.
I'll just stay up for 24 hours.
My morning time, that.
But Boxing Meets Beauty. So I don't know if you've seen their account. Because it's we've got sisters, Loopy and her sister Blanca. One of them owns a gym, highly involved in the boxing over in America. They they single-handedly get a load of champions through their gyms, you know, because they hone the young ones' talent, so the young girls that come through. I don't know if you see all their posts about that. So they have
Yeah,
their
it's brilliant.
all the champions, you know, so many of them come through. The Americans come through their gym, involved in Team USA, all that kind of business. So I think they're fantastic. So obviously they're based San Francisco way. So hopefully they should be attending the fight on our behalf. Some of the build up, and hopefully, fingers crossed, please, Matchroom, going to the factual fight. So hopefully we'll be bringing you some content via them.
Yes, and that's what we want, isn't it? And they are fantastic. If no one's seen their channel or their social media platform, sorry, you got to check them out because you do incredible work.
Yeah, they're involved with lots of things. Because are they part of the? I believe they start the ring panel.
I believe so. Yeah,
I'd imagine all those kind of things are involved with because they're very good.
They're the people we want for us as well, delivering us content. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. Passionate. Yeah, they're the ones. That will be exciting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight. And I'm just trying to think of this fights. We've got the Raven fight. But I always forget. You know what I'm like. Until it gets to Wednesday, I can't remember what's happening on the weekend. But there'll be big fights. It is a big finish to the year. I do think there's a couple more big fights coming up. And I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah,
let's see what happens with poor Chantelle Cameron and Katie Taylor now. That's what I'm excited for. I want something to happen quick with that. That's my dream.
Get something signed. And to be honest, if the belts are going to be threatened to be stripped, if something doesn't get signed, I think it'd be signed pretty quickly, something.
Yeah, I think Katie's had 7 days to activate her rematch clause. I believe she's done it the same night of the first fight. So I don't know if Chantelle has a rematch, but I'm sure it'll be 7 days again. So yeah, we might find out like sooner or like later, or hear rumors. If we don't hear rumors, I'm just going to start them. That's how we go.
You know what? I swear that's what people do. When I say all
I think so.
I think people just go, yeah, let's just put that out there, see what happens.
Yeah, and not an ever like it's all just shit, and but everyone believes. Yeah, I think we should start doing that.
Yeah, I mean, guaranteed some of it might end up being true. So
yeah, I reckon if you put out enough kind of speculation, half of it would be true. I think that's good. 50%, I'd take that.
Right. Sources.
Come from a credible source ourselves. Right, I reckon that's a wrap then. I think that was I feel like we've had a lot to talk about. That was a lot going on in that one fight, and like I say, I think some more big fights coming, so I'm looking forward to it.
And no more abuse of Sasha, please, on socials.
No, I'm a sensitive person. Everyone's picking on me.
I mean, we're all up for, a little bit of.
No, I reckon I can handle it for the most. No, to be fair, I reckon I've handled it well. I'm all good. But I will be doing it back to them. No, but I was sitting there, like going through. Say again.
I was going to say they're the type of people you can just laugh at because they're clueless anyway. So.
Well, yeah, because I was like going through because I was trying to like read people's tweets, for today, and I have like some good talking points for us. And I was like, oh my god, some people get so aggressive. It's like, and like, oh, it's because your fighter didn't win. It's like, she my fighter all of a sudden. Do I represent Chantelle Cameron? And actually, I mean, even on this today, someone's like, I can't remember the comment now, saying like you've not said the positive words about Katie Taylor. Sometimes, and especially on Twitter, I think you only get a certain amount of characters, and it's quite difficult for people to maybe understand. But also, I think people are saying like I'm because Chantelle's up, but I'm not the issue. It's the hardcore Casey fans who can't listen to criticism or something. They're the issue. As people know, I'm never the issue, and I'm never wrong. Like I'm not wrong about the knockdown.
It's that time of year as well that our awards will come out at some point. So we need to start thinking about the awards, end of year awards.
No, I'm not doing that.
Happened. Oh, it wasn't the main fights, was it? What was the one that was the most controversial? It was the ring walk. Like of all the awards, we're
not doing that category again. I'm telling you now.
Unbelievable stick for the ring walk.
I had sleepless nights over the abuse we were getting because we didn't put one fighter in best ring walk of the year, and I'm sure the actual fighter got upset or the team got upset or there was some weird shit going on about this bloody ring walk. So no, absolutely not. I'm not even being a part of it. You do that on your own this year. I can't handle it. I can't handle it again this year.
Purposely put something controversial in just for the hell of it to see.
You would have thought, though, out of all the categories we had, the ring walk.
I know.
Which I'm sure we done like as a last minute whim of, let's do that. It's a bit of fun. It was the least fun experience of my life to date. The amount of abuse we got because of this one ring walk not being on. I stand by our decision to this day. It didn't deserve to be on.
We're still getting a little bit of stick about one of the others as well. Keeps popping up every now and then because it keeps on, when old things get liked or commented on.
Yeah.
One of them was commented literally about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's nearly a year on. Can't drop it.
It's just hit people really deep, that I think, and I don't know if we should do that again for our own sake, because yeah, that was tough.
I think we're gonna have to just throw a curveball and just to see it explode, just for fun.
It's always the random ones that you don't expect, though.
Like,
I think
best outfit color or something, and then you're like, no, my fighter was the best.
I reckon Michaela Mayer would win that because she thoroughly thinks through her outfit, and it's not just what she wears on the night; it's the whole fight week. She has the same color scheme. You've got to love that prep. I mean, I'm a Virgo. I love stuff like that.
You're obviously biased towards Michaela Mayer, aren't you? That's
the kind of... there you go. They're the comments that we get. Like, you literally just can't win, can you? We're only trying to do something nice and engaging for like fans and female boxers, and it just was a disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, that ring walk there, and when we had one, I don't even remember who it was now who messaged like, or tweeted like rage and that we didn't put this person's ring walk in. And I was like, oh, dude, like, you should be too busy to care.
It was like proper big people in the world of boxing that were getting involved as well, wasn't it?
There was a promoter, wasn't there, who tweeted us? Yeah. And I was like, I felt like tweeting the back going, you should be like promoting fighters now. Come on, you shouldn't be on our Twitter crying that your fighter's not being picked for our you don't win anything, by the way. I think we need to stipulate that you're not winning, like, there's no cash prize for winning best ring walk. Because people were that upset, you'd think they'd missed out on something big.
Don't forget, a promoter DM'd me as well. A promoter, one of the major promoters DM'd me about,
because didn't we miss out something of what they felt like they'd done in that year, and we missed out something.
And I just can't believe how much controversy we cause for these little awards of ours.
Yeah, actually, so let's go bigger this year. Let's really piss people off.
Yeah, let's see.
We're good at that lately. That's really going to upset some people.
It's the year that we get the most engagement.
Yeah. It's just terrifying, though. We just get so much hate for like the little things, which is amazing. It's like your fight schedule.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the thing. We don't even try and be controversial. I think people just create it for us. It's fine for me. We get a ton of views.
And then I get some fighters from around the world that message saying, you only concentrate on American fighters, or you only and I'm like, we really do try our best to be very well. And like, get comments like that. It's just like, oh, unbelievable.
I think we just do it on purpose now.
Anyone still watching at this point in the night, if you can think of any categories for our awards that will be highly entertaining and amusing and controversial, please DM us. Hilarious.
Message us. We want some like new, fresh categories, don't we, this year? And I think we should do best ring walk again. Yeah, let's upset people. Let's do that again. But I want let's have some fresh, like something different. We're looking for some different type of categories. Get people,
let's get
people talking.
Annoyed.
That's what we're good at. Right, on that note, because I think we've definitely annoyed people with some of our opinions today. Till next time.
Be like, you.
Right, until the next time something controversial happens, I reckon we'll be back again. I reckon we'll just cause up a stir each week and come back and talk about it. I think that suits us.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Right. Been a pleasure.
Yeah. That's the middle of the night for you.
Yeah, too late for me. Right. Thank you everyone for watching and all your comments, even when you didn't agree with me. We'll be back next time.
See ya.